Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today I am here with Cassiy Johnson. And unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know who she is. Welcome, Cassiy. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Christina. I'm excited for this conversation. I know it's going to be so valuable for all of you guys that are watching. If we can just help you take action in your business in 2025 and start getting money, that would be what all of our dreams are made of. So that's what we're really going to try and focus on in this video. Make sure that you guys have some great actionable takeaways to walk away and start making more listings and making more money in your store today.
Yes. For people who don't know your story yet or who you are, can you give some people some background on your print on demand journey?
Absolutely. So I've been selling print on demand on Etsy for 4.5 years now. So that is crazy to think about. And in that time, I've sold over 40,000 things on Etsy, and I have had just a really, really great experience with it. It has absolutely changed my life. So if you're wondering if it's still a good time to get into it, it absolutely is. And I hope you can just like have a lot of fun with it and that it'll change your life too.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point. You have to have fun with it because yeah, it can take some time to start, but it's like something I absolutely love to do is just the designing part of it. Um, One question I had for you, how many listings? Do you remember how many listings you had when you like first started? How many listings you've built over the years in your store?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know my very first month, I got up about 40 listings. My first month out the gate, and really only one of them actually started kind of taking off and selling. I had posted just the right time for Father's Day. And so I had just one funny Father's Day shirt that took off and sold like 40 times. And so from then I was just completely hooked. And so I started making consistent listings probably literally every day. I bet you my first year of print on demand, I probably posted at least one thing, if not 10, 15, 20, 30 things for sale every day throughout the whole year. Maybe that's an exaggeration on 30 in the beginning a day, but I know I had probably about 1,000 listings by the end of my like seventh or eighth month by the end of the year. And so it did take me probably a couple hundred listings to start getting consistent sales, and then probably over 1,000 listings, yeah, before I started actually making a consistent income of profit every month, in about a year and a half to be able to actually quit my job and making enough consistent income that I was able to replace the income that I had. But that was a couple thousand listings in at that point.
Yeah, that's kind of like me. Like when people talk about starting and like, oh, it was easy back when you started. Like I didn't make my first sale till 70 listings in. I didn't make daily sales until 400 listings in. And yeah, I think same by the probably like my eighth month when I started making more than my job, was same thing, probably around 1,000. Because I remember I think it was like September, October, I got really mad at work and I was like, I'm quitting this job. I'm finding a way. And I would like finish work, sometimes do it during work, and then I would list as long as I could to get up and like made hundreds of listings probably that month. I was so dedicated. I was like, I'm making this thing work. I don't care.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's exactly what we're going to talk about today is making consistent listings in your
Yeah.
store. I think the real recipe, if I had to pick, is if every year you made between 500 and 1,000 new listings, I think you'd be in a really good spot because unfortunately you do have to kind of continuously list with print on demand. This isn't
Yeah.
something you can just like throw 40 listings up and like make a full-time income from. It's going to take a lot more than that. And
Mhm.
so I think listing consistently really can make the difference. And so we'll kind of dive more into how to get that done, anyways.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because I'm still to this day trying to list every week. Like sometimes I'm not going as crazy as I first did, but I probably have 1,000 inactive listings too, just old ones, over 1,000 live. Like it's not something kind of like you mentioned, you put up a bunch, but even 1,000 and then forget it. Like you're continuously adding to Etsy because what could be a bestseller one year could not be the next year, which is kind of my case. My bestseller last year was not my bestseller this year.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. And it's also really important to understand that even with me and Christina knowing what we know now, every listing that we post isn't our next bestseller. Like, no matter what you do, no matter how good you are, not every single one's going to be a hit. So I always
Yeah.
try and think back to like the 80-20 rule that it's going to be 20% of your listings are going to make you 80% of your
For
income.
sure.
So please don't feel bad if not all of your listings sell. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for our like really, really high performing listings that are going to take off and sell 4,000 times in a few months, right? Those are the ones that are going to move the needle and make the difference. And so don't get attached to your listings. You never know which one is going to be your next big bestseller. And so that's why you have to just get a bunch more listings up there to find it.
So, yeah, there's so many. Like the ones that I've put up sometimes that I'm like, this is it. This is the best design and idea I've ever had. This is going to be my bestseller. Never sees the light of day, has never been bought ever. And the simplest design sometimes that I went and I did, and I'm like, this is probably not going to do well, but I'm going to put it up, has been the one that's made me thousands.
Yeah, yeah, simple really does sell. So I
Yeah.
am 100% with you. Like text-based only designs,
Yeah.
people don't give them enough credit. They really overcomplicate the process to 3 fonts, a couple different colors, more than one graphic, and they're wondering why they're not getting sales when
Yeah.
someone else with white text on a gray shirt has a bestseller with 2,000 sales this year, you know?
Yep, exactly. People would be surprised. And for you now, how long would you say it takes you to get a listing up?
Yeah, start to finish. If I was going to make one design for one niche and list it in my store, I could probably get that up start to finish in probably less than 20 minutes because
Mhm.
I've really honed my systems and strategies. Now, a lot of times I'll batch my time and do like a design day and then a listing day. And
Yeah,
so if I was just doing the listings, I could probably get 15 designs listed in 20 minutes.
that's amazing. So, for a lot of people watching, they're probably thinking, that's crazy. I am taking hours to get my listings up. And I know that was the case when I started, but I'm saying, like, I can usually get an idea out very, very fast and get multiple up if in like one sitting. So, for those people who are like, that's not possible for me, I want to go over some of like our best tips on how people can speed up that process over time. What would you say, like, one of your tips are for those people who are just feeling overwhelmed with how long it's taking them to start listing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think where it starts is with the prep work. You know, if you think about the whole like iceberg theory, where, you know, most of the iceberg's under the water and you don't see it, the prep work for listing your product for sale is the bottom of the iceberg. And so you want to do really good research and pick the best mock-ups that you can find, and then use those mock-ups for every single listing the whole year. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see people making is being like, oh, I'm listing a pickleball shirt, so I'm going to go buy pickleball mock-ups, or
Yes.
this shirt's more for a guy, so I'm going to go buy a guy mock-up, or this listing's for a grandpa, so I'm going to buy a grandpa mock-up. Don't buy different mock-ups for everything you need. Buy the best performing mock-ups you can find and reuse those, because if you can get a system in place where you use the exact same mockups, the exact same description. Now you're going to add stuff at the top of the description that's going to change per listing, but the same description, the same pricing, the same color shirts. Don't be switching what colors you're offering between listings every time. Like lessen the amount of decisions you have to make. So it's like you build a template of a listing that now the only thing that's going to change is the designs and the SEO. So that way, when you're going to make your next listing, all you have to do is make the design, come up with the SEO, and list it as quickly as possible. Because if you're not changing anything else, you can get really efficient and really fast and get a bunch more listings up there in your store.
Yeah, that's exactly what I see all the time. And people will always mention they're like, but if someone comes to my page, they're going to see that I'm using the same mockup everywhere. Doesn't that look bad? But people don't usually find you by your store. They're finding you by the individual listing and they're clicking on that listing. So same thing. I have a like handful of mockups, depending on which product that I've seen is always my bestseller. A lot of times I've like A/B tested two different mockups, and there's always one that's a bestseller. So now I'm listing everything with that mockup, and it also saves you so much money for the people who are like buying the Christmas mockups and the Halloween mockups. I don't think it makes a big difference. You're spending a whole lot more money, and those aren't data backed because you haven't tested them yet. So I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, if you need to, go join Mockups Anonymous. They can help you not buy as many mockups all the time, stop your addiction. I'm just kidding, but yeah, I completely agree. It's like streamlining your process is really the name of the game. So I'd say that's the beginning start process is you need to research your product and get that stuff set up. And from there, I like to build a listing template. I use mostly Printify to print all of my products. Which, if you're not familiar, they are a print-on-demand company where you upload your designs, and then when someone buys it, Printify actually prints and ships it for you. And so that's how me and Christina don't have to actually print or ship any of our own items. And so what the process looks like is you'll make a template. I like to pick my design, like pick my product. So let's say the comfort color shirt is one of my favorites. Pick the comfort color shirt, select all the colors that you're ever going to sell in a listing. You're going to set your pricing. You're going to put your description in there. You're going to set your shipping, and then you're going to name it like C1717 template. So that way, every time you go make designs in the future, all you have to do is copy that Printify product. You just search for it and push the copy button. So all you have to do is change the design, change the title, and click publish. And it can really be that fast. If you're spending more than like 5 seconds putting your design on Printify and posting it, then I bet you could be doing it a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, this is something I learned from one of your videos because it was not something I was doing. And then I watched, I was like, oh my goodness, what have I been doing? Because I would just like, I had all the templates and everything saved, but sometimes there's just those like little tips and tricks that like are kind of obvious when you hear about them, but like it's really hard to think about. So when, yeah, you said it, it's something I've been doing now, which helps a lot because before I was just setting everything in Etsy and I had like everything in Notion. So that's very much helped me speed up my process because I mostly only sell like 2 to 3 products, usually only 2. And then if I get a bestseller, then I'll put it on more products. But majority of the time, I'm just using the exact same 2 Printify products with the exact same 5 colors.
Right. Yeah. It's like get efficient. Don't overthink it. There's like the top 5 colors of any design. You can message Printify. I think it might be in your Printify Insights what the top sellers are for each product. Just pick those and move on. Like I think 90% of the listings I sold my first 3 years, I had 3 colors for sale in my listings. I did like white, black, and either a light gray or a dark gray, and that's it. I didn't even sell colored shirts. So like don't overthink that part of the process. Turn it into a system. My next tip for you that saves just like an itty bitty amount of time, but it makes a difference, is to actually design on the canvas size of the product that you're selling. So if you look on Printify, you can click, like if you're editing, say, a comfort color shirt, you can click the little I button on the top left, and it'll tell you how big that print area is, which for Swift POD on a comfort color shirt, I think it's like 4,200 by 4,800. And if you design your design in the middle, towards the top of the canvas, if you get good at it, you can make your design and save it so that when you upload it to Printify, you don't have to move it at all. It's just in the exact right spot already. And that might sound like a little tip, but it's like all these little things add up to where you're not having to make decisions and getting a decision paralysis every time you go list. It's just having a really efficient system.
Yeah. And for people who use Kittl too, if you go into Kittl and when you create a new product, you can select Printify t-shirt size. Like it lets you select the product. So automatically it pulls up the right canvas size for you to use. So if you're not using that, definitely go use their templates in there. I believe when you create a new template, it says like print on demand sizes, probably mixing up the wording, but you can just go select that product directly. So you don't have to go grab the sizing every time. And that's what I'll do quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of the process. So, again, just templatizing everything and making it a really efficient process. But, so that's kind of the fast process. I think the next part is obviously you've added your design to Printify. The next thing is going to be your mockups, which is where my new mockup automation software can make such a huge difference. If you haven't heard, I did launch a new mockup automation software called Simply Listed. And Christina actually has a special link for you down in the description to get a 14-day free trial instead of the 7 that you'll get if you go to my website, and you'll get 50 free mockups. But why do you care about that, and what difference does it make for you? Making mockups is one of the most tedious parts of print on demand, having to, whether you use Canva or use Kittl to make your mockups, even if you use Figma, like there's some systems out there where you can kind of automate it, but it still takes time to put your design on each one, maybe lower the opacity or change where it's tilted, save those, go upload it to Etsy. Like even the fastest that I've ever been, it still takes maybe 2-3 minutes for
Yeah.
each listing to make the mockups, which if you're going to list 15 items in a day, that's a lot of time spent on mockups. Whereas with my new mockup automation tool, we're directly integrated with Printify. So all you have to do is put your design on Printify, and then you'd build a template on Simply Listed with your own mockups, whatever ones you want to use. And so when you click it, you could say, make me mockups for all 15 of these listings and click go. And in literally like 5 seconds, I will make 150 mockups for you. And then you can just click publish to Etsy. But even
Yeah.
better, it turns them into a slideshow video. So you have a listing video to put on your listings, which is something that Etsy is really promoting right now. And again, it's just those little things that can make such a big difference and save you so much time in your business.
Yeah. And yeah, it's always the part when I get to mockups, I'm like, I don't really want to spend the time to do this. Because sometimes it's very repetitive. You're putting out the same mockups, you're making the video, you have to save everything to your computer as well. Versus, yeah, using Simply Listed. The fact that you can like do 15 at one time has been mind-boggling because I'm someone who doesn't batch that much because I know when I get to mockups, I'll create an excuse to procrastinate. So I have to do everything at once versus this has now allowed me to batch a little bit easier because like I don't have to do the worst part of it all at once. So yeah, it's been something like it's pretty easy to set up too. I've probably set mine up in like each one maybe like 5 minutes max, I think, to set up each template, probably faster. Probably the first one might take you a little bit longer, but it is honestly probably a game changer for people who don't like making mockups.
Yeah, yeah. I see a lot of people make a bunch of designs that they never list in their store because
No.
that process just takes way too long. So check out the free trial. We won't, shove it down your throats. If you want to try it, you can. But honestly, I think it'll make a huge difference in your business if you do. And so that's the mockup process. Find a way to make that as efficient as possible, whether that's using Simply Listed or just getting into a really good rhythm with making your mockups, whatever works for you, but try and make that process as fast as you can. And
Yeah.
then the next part would be your SEO. So I definitely do use ChatGPT to help me with SEO, whether that is asking it to write me a 2 or 3 sentence based on these couple keywords about it being a good gift and make it funny is usually what I go for. That way I'm putting a couple keywords in the top of my description. And then all of my SEO, I just get from the best sellers on Etsy. I really don't overthink it. Honestly, I don't think it's worth your time to go analyze every single keyword you're using. Like if you're selling an item that has a bunch of bestsellers, which should be mandatory. If you're listing something on Etsy, it should be because it's selling on Etsy. I'd say that's a given, I hope.
Yeah.
So if there aren't 4 items on Etsy with a bestseller badge for the niche you're listing for, I might not be listing it. Obviously, there's exceptions, but I'd say the majority of the case. So I'll look at those 4 bestsellers and then I'll look at their titles and their tags, and I'll use that to come up with my own title and tags for my listings. Because sometimes maybe my design's personalized or something a little different than theirs, but that's how you know people are finding those and buying it is based off those keywords. You don't have to overthink it. This should be like 5 minutes tops, I'd
Yes.
say, for your SEO.
I think this is the top thing that people message me about. Like, how do you do your SEO? Like, it takes me forever. I don't research my SEO. Like, I will, but I'm not going on like eRank and finding low search or high search, low competition for every keyword. I'm trying to find things that people are going to type into Etsy. That's my like main goal. And to do that, yeah, you can go exactly you said, look up your main keyword. If you sell a nurse shirt, look up nurse shirt and see what else other people are using because they're also using other keywords that people are typing into Etsy. And that's how, yeah, I literally do my titles less than a minute, probably.
Yeah.
Probably my tags too, because I reuse a lot of my title. And then I just fill up the rest with other keywords that I'm finding. And yeah, it's super easy to find people's tags as well on Etsy, either using Everbee, which has the extension where you can see all the titles or all the tags they use. Or if you don't have a tool as well, it's under explore related searches at the bottom is all their tags as well. It's just not called tags.
Yeah, oh my gosh, using Everbee has been such a game changer. I didn't use any research tools for the first 2 years. So I think I sold like $500,000 on Etsy before I even used a research tool of any
Yep.
kind. Okay. But I say that, and now I use Everbee all day, every day, because I do the same thing. I can just sort and search and copy and paste faster. I'm even repping an Everbee sweatshirt today, so don't mind the subtle plug there. So you don't have to have Everbee, but it does make things so much faster. So yeah, don't overthink your SEO. And then again, if you batch things, so like let's say you're going to list 15 items in your store today, if you make 15 designs for one niche that you know is selling really well right now, then you can get your mockups done really quick because you're using the same mockups for all of them. You're going to use the same title and the same tags for all of them. Maybe
Yep.
change it if the design is a little bit different. But if not, use the exact same title, use the exact same description top, use the exact same tags. I know I've had probably 10 different bestsellers for a social worker shirt over the years, and I just use the exact same title every single time because it works. You don't have to
Yep.
overthink it. People are typing in social worker shirt or social worker gift, and that's how they're finding it. Like there's not a million keywords. And so just don't overthink it. Batch your work, get really efficient, and I think you can be super successful in 2025.
Yeah. Yeah. Back to the everything, 100% like same. I tried to bootstrap as much as possible, didn't pay for anything. I use Everbee every single day now. It's something I've upgraded to. Like once I started making the money, it's like I want to speed up my process. It speeds up research so much because I'll do design research. I'll look up like which designs are doing the best because they give you the little thumbnail when you're looking. Um, so when it comes to tools, a lot of the time, it's not something as a beginner, if you have no money yet, that they're necessary to be successful. But once you are and you want to start speeding this up, taking it seriously, you can invest. I see them as an investment. They're going to help you get more listings out, which in turn results in more sales.
Right. Right. Exactly. So again, it's all about just being really efficient, not overthinking it. And something I saw Cody Sanchez say, she's a really great author and YouTuber, is that you need to have a bias towards action. Anything you do in your business, if you're sitting there overthinking it for an hour, then it's not worth your time. Like time is money. If you're trying to get something done, just get it done. Always be working towards taking action. Because if you
Yes.
only have 40 listings in your store and you're wondering why you're not successful, it's because you just haven't done enough. Like, I wish that was enough. But if
Yeah.
you really want consistent sales in your store, I'd say you need 15, not 15, 500 to 1500 listings in your store, depending on how much research, how good of designs, how good of mockups, like how much you do at that bottom of the iceberg research of like the best pricing, best mockups, all that stuff. Between 500 and 1500 listings, you should be making a couple $1,000s a month consistently once you've
Yeah.
kind of got that research down. But it takes a minute to get there.
It does. Yeah. You might not see it right away, but yeah, once you start getting the data on what's working, like it just like gets easier. Like for me, if I have a best-selling design, I'm going to create a bunch of different variations and not change it up much. I might change one word. If I've done research and I see like a varsity shirt is doing well, I'm going to make 20 varsity designs. I'm not just doing research design, research design, research design. I'm changing it up. And that's also helped me like create 20 designs in 10 minutes because I'm just
Right.
plugging in a whole bunch of niches into one design that has been proven to sell already on Etsy. So at all points, you can batch, you can make things faster, invest in things to help you move faster as well.
And I'd say last kind of tip is if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're like, I don't know what sells well, I want you to, like I said, spend one day, research like 100 best-selling listings for the product you're selling. Really take a look at what mockups they're using and go buy 3 or 4 of the best mockups that you can use for that product. Research what price they're using and make sure you'd be profitable selling at the same price, but just research this once. Don't overthink it 1700 times. If you're not getting sales, it's probably not because of your pricing. So pick a good price that you're making profit that's competitive to what other people are selling and move on. That's not what's making the difference. And then I want you to find a really good font. Okay.
Yes.
Look at a bunch of bestsellers, find a really good font, and I want you to start with font only designs. Trust me, just text.
Yeah.
So white text, some green text on ivory, some brown text on an espresso comfort color shirt. Like
Yep.
find something that's trending. All of those are good examples, and make a bunch of designs that basically look exactly the same for as many listings as you can find. It's like take the research that you do one time and apply it to as many niches as possible. And from there, you can learn other design styles, but
Yeah.
get started with simple because simple sells. I could show you 100 bestsellers
Absolutely.
right now with just 3 words or 2 words on a shirt. Like I looked at one today and I think it said professional yapper and is a bestseller and has sold tons of times. And it literally is just 2 words, simple
Yep.
text on a shirt.
My bestseller is 3 words across the top. That's it. One font and white. That's it.
Yeah,
And
don't
yeah,
over.
that's been like probably a good third of all my like all-time sales, which is crazy. And it was probably my fastest listing up. So don't overthink things either, guys. And then, yeah, one thing I also want to mention, if for some reason you do want to have a little bit more complex designs to stick out, or you found a trend that's doing really well on Etsy that maybe isn't the easiest to use, a lot of times you can go to Kittl and check out their templates. If something's trending on Etsy, often they make templates that match a similar vibe. They're pretty like on top of things with their templates. So like if you're looking at the coquette trend, within like a week, you'll see there's a bunch of coquette templates you can use from Kittl. So you don't have to redesign things from the start. You can usually start from a template. Kittl is really, really great for those as an alternative as well.
Yeah, I saw that they had a bootleg design template that was pretty
Yes.
good. So yeah, definitely check out Kittl if you're not a good designer with all their free templates that you can use. That'll save you a ton of time too. So yeah, don't overthink it. Just try and get as many listings up as you can in your store based on research, right? But
So
quantity is also really important and you'll do great.
amazing. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your tips. I'm sure everyone's going to be leaving with so many like pointers to leave from. I always learn something from you. For people who aren't following you yet, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun. I hope you guys really did get some good value from this video. And if you did, put 2025 in the comments down below. That'll tell us that you enjoyed the video and you're really excited to crush it and not overthink things in 2025. So comment 2025 down below if you got to this point. And if you don't follow me already on YouTube, my name is Cassiy Johnson. And then if you want to check out tutorials for Simply Listed, I did just start a new YouTube channel just called Simply Listed with all my tutorials for that. And any products I sell are available on my website, CassiyJohnson.com.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye.